Hello, everyone, and welcome to Overtime. Um, there's honestly no way to put the absurdity that has become American culture today. I don't know whether to apologize, or if I am apologizing, what for, when I tell you that the headline to this story is completely false. Another CEO has not been shot. 5 children have been shot and killed in a school in Madison, Wisconsin. 5 more are in the emergency room with injuries varying from trivial or minor to life-threatening. The shooter is dead. All we know about the shooter is that they were an adolescent. It appears that this shooter took their own life. Would you have clicked if we had said that? I'll be honest with you, I might not have. 1,672 adolescents died last year as a result of gun-inflicted wounds in this country. 42,000 people died in the United States as a result of firearms. 7 died in Japan in the year 2003 from firearms, either by accident or through assassination. I don't know what the answer in the U.S. is to the gun problem. I do know it's solvable, and I know because other countries have managed to solve it. Japan, ironically, of all places, in general, when you have a lot of people crammed together in small places, they tend to get grumpy and get more violent. Japan seems to be the opposite. It's not to say there aren't cultural issues with Japan, but 7 gun deaths in 1 year versus 42,000 in the U.S. So I say again, the story that we are going with today is 5 dead and 5 injured in a Madison Christian school shooting. The shooter is among the dead. It appears, we don't have any confirmation of this. What we know is that when the police arrived on the scene, they did find the shooter, and he was already dead. So presumably the shooter took their own life. The shooter is among the 5 dead. 5 are currently in the hospital with varying degrees of injury, including critical. It's the Abundant Life Christian School in Madison, Wisconsin. Now, I didn't put the headline up to shame anyone. You wouldn't have clicked if it was, but to make a point, which is, we actually haven't covered school shootings in quite some time, and the reason is there's so many of them. And I've gotten to the point where it's been going on for so long that The Daily Show still had Jon Stewart as their primary host. And I would remember watching him struggling, trying to figure out what to say to the 10th, 11th, 12th one of these. And here I am. I wanted a platform. I wanted to be able to say various things, and all I can do is spout numbers at you. 42,000 Americans dead last year due to a gun. 7 Japanese dead due to a gun. Something's wrong. And the CEO, I mean, this meme, there have been a huge number of memes, but we shared this at the beginning, and this has become my favorite meme in relation to the reaction to the death of a CEO is so disproportionate. In part of that, I really do get it's so rare that, we judge news by how rare it is, the more common an event is. So the school shooting, while unbelievably, in my view, far more tragic than the death of a CEO of any corporation, let alone one trying to profit off of a system that can't operate in a for-profit method and be ethical. You can't have, there's no ethical way to run a for-profit business in healthcare. It cannot be done. It's completely it makes no sense. You cannot do it. You can run it. It will probably save lives. I mean, healthcare has saved lives. It's also been responsible for the deaths of a lot of people. So let's not, gloss over that. You can run a company in a for-profit business. It's just if it's a healthcare company, you can't do it ethically. You can't. United happened to be one of the most unethical, and there were plenty more that at least tried, I guess. But the death of the CEO, and now CEOs are getting bodyguards. Do I have to pay for private security for my children at a school now? My children are insured. Their CEO, for their insurance, has more protection than they do. And if they get shot at school, they are less likely to be covered for it than he is. I'd say that's a joke. I'm not that funny. Not that morbid either. Anyways, I thought long and hard, actually, before going with the headline, because we don't do clickbait on End Time, and those of you who know. But it was the only way that I could sit here and highlight the difference between a CEO getting gunned down in New York, who wasn't the only man who died, or wasn't the only person who died in New York that night. There was a black woman who died roughly around the same time. She didn't get that much attention, as I recall. So what we have is a rare event. A CEO. By the way, CEOs are important. I really do. I think CEOs are important. I think they serve an important function. I think you can't have a society without some kind of organizational structure, and somebody has to be at the top. Doesn't mean that 5 children dead at a school deserves less of a response. And from what I can tell, the local police have responded, and responded quite well. In fact, I forgot we've got the footage from that, so we'll play that in a second. But you and I both know what's going to happen next. There's going to be a talk about, well, let's talk about gun control. They're going to say, well, it's a mental health issue, which, by the way, sucks if it's a mental health issue, because your insurance company is probably not going to cover it. But having said all that, the very Republicans who say, we care about gun violence, seem to A, care more when it's about a CEO, and B, care until it comes to doing something about it. Because if I grant them every point they make, we need guns. Guns are part of the Second Amendment. We need to defend ourselves. I grant them all that point, say, but you're right, it's a mental health issue, so let's give everybody free mental health care. Everybody. So that this doesn't happen anymore. Because you and I both care about stopping the violence. All of a sudden, the Republicans don't seem to care so much about what's happening in our schools. Go ahead, grant them every point they want. They still don't want to fix the problem. Why? I don't know. Unless it's a CEO. This is footage from the police chief. He is going to be discussing what little they knew at the time. We have since learned a bit more. Let me try to make sure we get it in here. Well, and I think CEOs need producers. And I think the reason they need producers is for precisely moments like this, when they can't find their own video. Oh, I think I just, hey, wow. Let's see, 50-50 on whether this works. I'm going to call that a no. I'll try this one more time.
Police are walking to the microphone, so let's take a listen. This has so far been a combination of local police and Dane County sheriffs. Let's listen.
The media is to our community. But the truth is, today is a sad, sad day. not only for Madison, but for our entire country. We're yet another police chief press conference to speak about violence in our community, specifically in one of the places that's most sacred to me as someone who loves education and to someone who has children that are in schools. So I'm going to tell you what I know. I'll answer any questions that I can. There'll be a secondary briefing that our PIO will let you know about, okay? Today, around 10:57 a.m., our officers were responding to a call of an active shooter at the Abundant Life Christian School here in Madison. When officers arrived, they found multiple victims suffering from gunshot wounds. We train on this almost quarterly. The last time we trained on this as commanders was approximately 2 weeks ago. The protocols are simple. Stop the killing, stop the dying, find out who's doing this. And the officers did that, and they did that adamantly. We had officers from around the county and around the state that came in support of this particular incident. Officers located a juvenile who they believe was responsible for this, deceased in the building. Additionally, the officers began administering life-saving efforts to anyone who was wounded and making sure that those persons were transported. What we know is that a total of about 7 persons were transported from the scene to area hospitals for treatment. We know that at least 3 people have lost their lives, including a juvenile person. I don't have any other information about those persons who have lost their lives, and I'm not going to release that until we have, of course, spoken with family members and ensuring that they are fully aware of this tragic, tragic scene that occurred today. I want to thank all of the law enforcement partners and community members that came out to help, our friends at the ATF. I've gotten calls from my friends at the FBI.
All right. And since we've got a complaint in the live chat, and I knew we were going to get complaints, and we may get a strike for this. One reason In Time doesn't always go to the levels I would like it to is because I'm a little more willing to play with strikes than perhaps I should be. But if you don't understand that that title isn't clickbait, it's not clickbait. It's a lie. It's an absolute lie. But it's not clickbait, and here's why. The purpose of clickbait is to get you to think that something more exciting is happening than really is. The title says there's a death of a CEO. The actual story is that 5 children went to school today and aren't coming home. Which one do you think is more important? If you honestly think that the CEO story is more important, flag us. Somebody's going to flag us anyway. That's not clickbait. That's satire to make a point. And if you don't understand it, my condolences. Either you've never had kids or you don't care about them. At any rate, we have today, unfortunately, another school shooting. To the best of our knowledge, 5 children are dead, and we have 5 more wounded in various states of distress. They have all been sent to a local hospital. It is in, it's a Madison Christian school. And I don't think at this point there's a whole bunch more we can do to continue following it. As I said, I'm thinking back to the days of Jon Stewart trying to come up with something new to say. We know what the problems are. The biggest problem, actually, that I can tell is Republicans genuinely don't want to fix the problem unless it's a CEO. Then they want to fix it. What do you want to bet private security is going to become part of the next CEO's compensation package? Nobody else needs security. We don't need to do something about the guns. What we need to do is protect the right people. As I said, I've debated this with a number of conservatives. It is absolutely, as always, worth noting that one of the ones I've debated it with, who has debated always genuinely, honestly, and listened to my side, is Andrew. And I'm very, that's why I'm proud that he's a co-host. But most conservatives that I debate this with, I'll grant them every point they want. And in the end, they still don't want to fix the problem. They don't want to fix the problem. The only reason I can think of is because they genuinely believe it won't happen to their kids. Going to happen to someone's kids. How do I know that? Because I can add. Thank you all for joining us. If anyone is truly offended by the title, read Mark Twain. Read the amicus brief by the Onion to the U.S. Supreme Court. There's a reason the title is what it is. Anyways, thank you all very much. And we will see you on our regular show tomorrow. Good night.